Hello, and welcome to Gay Fairfax, the National Capital Area's only weekly gay cable magazine sharing news, views, and pride. I'm Dave Hughes.
And I'm Michelle Michaels. Each week we'll feature events and personalities of interest to gay women and men in the Northern Virginia area.
On this edition, we'll be treated to a fascinating discussion with the founder of the modern gay movement, 78-year-old Harry Hay.
And you'll be treated to the Flirtations, a gay a cappella group who sang recently in Washington. But first, here's Peg McGraw with this week's gay trivia question.
Hi, I'm Peg, and it's trivia time. Can you name 4 famous gay or bisexual men that served in the U.S. Armed Forces? Stay tuned for the answer.
Thank you, Peg. Every year in June, Gay Pride Day is celebrated, commemorating the Stonewall riots in 1969. But the origins of the gay movement can be traced back much farther than 1969 to one man. Harry Hay created the first gay group in 1952 called the Mattachine Society. But Barry Forbes found out that Harry refuses to be relegated to history and continues to be a gay gadfly and visionary.
In 1933, at age 21, Harry Hay escaped the confines of an affluent family to become a Hollywood stage actor. His intimate relationship with actor Will Geer led him to become an ardent supporter and organizer for the Communist Party. Like a good fellow traveler, Harry married and fathered 2 children. He left his wife and the Communist Party, and in 1950 created the Mattachine Society, the forerunner of today's gay movement. Dismayed by the assimilation of the gay movement in the late 1970s, Harry helped found a spiritual gay group called the Radical Fairies. From sometime actor to communist leader to gay gadfly, a new book explores the trouble with Harry Hay. Between book signings, Harry Hay and author Stuart Timmins shared moments of the past and visions of the future.
The first thought of a real brotherhood came when I was 13, in 1926, when my father had put me to work as a man, because in that period, boys of 13 and 14, particularly big kids like me, went to work at that time. The child labor laws get passed, but nobody pays any attention to them, because this is not a part of the American character of living. So I'm working in the hayfields with men 30 and 40 who were members of the IWW. That's the first international that was established by Karl Marx in 1850. And the communists were not interested in the homosexuals. Of course, who was? Nobody was. Everybody had a down word for us. As a matter of fact, I was probably treated with more respect by my fellow workers in the unions and in the party than I was almost any other part of the country. So consequently, because of the fact that I had a passion for struggling, I had a certain brilliance for organization and so on. These skills were respected by these people, so consequently I felt respected by them. In 1951, the party is going through a vast re-registration and a reorganization because of the McCarthy terror and having to go underground. And at that time, they were going to re-register everyone and ask people to recommit themselves to the principles. And this is when I talked to them about the Mattachine Society, which I've already started by then. And I recognized, therefore, at this point, that the people in California who had worked with me and whom had been my students and my Marxist teaching and so on, I knew that they would have no problems about me because they would understand who I was and the fact that I had always held up the highest integrity as far as their work was concerned. But the people in Ohio who wouldn't know who I was, these people might feel that the party out here had let them down, and I didn't want them to feel that way, so consequently I voted my own expulsion, which was something that the apparatus didn't know what to do with.
The Mattachines were historical figures from the late medieval period. They were public performers, mostly dancers, who both performed always in mask when they were out in public. And their dances had a certain element of the social activism of the time, mostly working on behalf of the peasants and against the rulers in the church. When the gay guys in the 1950s got together, they needed 2 things. One was a symbol to tie themselves together, And this masked figure was very much like they felt they had to be out in society, never really revealing who they were. And as Harry is describing, they found that they were only really able to explore their true identities once they were together in a supportive context. And the other thing that that word provided was that kind of euphemism that you needed in that time, because to say the word homosexual was a red flag, you would invite the cops, and you would invite arrest, and you would invite sort of the ruin of your life.
When you have I have about 10 or 11 people who have up until this time never seen that many other people like themselves in their lives, sitting down all of a sudden looking at each other, and as I said last night, with the right smells, with the right body language, you are your senses are telling you that you're home and that you're free and you're safe with one another, and it's a wonderful, glorious feeling. And we're really not making very good sense with one another, but we're so enjoying it that when 10 o'clock came and it was time to end the meeting, nobody wanted to go, and at 3 o'clock in the morning they still hadn't left. It was a marvelous feeling of being in family, being in group for the first time, and that in itself is something that happens at Radical Fairy meetings today. For example, when we have gatherings together, we may have a 3-day gathering, and nobody wants to go home at the end of the 3rd day, and at the 8th day they don't want to go home, and at the 12th day they don't want to go home, because this is something that is happening together with all of us, because it speaks of a language, of a new way of looking at things, and we all look the same way together and suddenly realize how different we are from the other people around us. We hadn't developed a constitution because we were beginning to discover ourselves, we were beginning to reinvent ourselves, and recognizing that what we were setting up for was a positive gay identity. And this was something that did not exist for people as yet. We were setting ourselves up as a people and not as a sexual act, which is the way we'd always been seen. So you're inventing as you go along. And in that regard, you don't put down a set of principles because you haven't come to those principles yet, or you don't see where you're going. You want to see the whole field before you begin to move in that direction. Second Mattachine didn't want to do that. What they wanted to do was to set up a set of very restrictive principles and a preamble to stand on. And their principles were pretty much this, that we are all exactly the same as everybody else, and that we have nothing in common with each other except our sexual inclinations. Now, setting up a constitution and a preamble of those principles is something I simply could not stand on. And so I was invited to serve as an officer in the new Mattachine on those principles, and that I could not stand and couldn't handle. So consequently, I find myself being pushed off the stage because these people stand for exactly the opposite of what I was standing for. When Stonewall breaks in Los Angeles, it wasn't that much of a deal because we'd all been terribly active just before that time anyway. So, but it gave us an opportunity to move in a new direction, and it did bring a whole bunch of people from the universities into action almost at once, and this was fine. Because with the beginning of gay liberation in Southern California, the first meeting was about 25 people, and the second meeting was 75 people, and the third meeting was 150 people. It just grew and grew and grew and grew like this. We didn't want to operate, the kids didn't want to operate by Robert's Rules of Order. They didn't want to move in that middle class sort of competitional type of thing. So that I suggested that we operate by consensus, and they said, well, what's that? And I told them how we had a group called the Committee for Traditional Indian Land and Life, and we operated by consensus. And so I told them how that worked, and they said, gee, this is how we want to do it too. So we started operating by consensus. We had a facilitator, we had those who came were the members, and we passed the hat for dues. So consequently, we did away with all that sort of formal preparation. So last night when you said I was chairperson, I wasn't. I was facilitator. But I was the first facilitator for Southern California. And we began to, and again, that particular gay liberation was again the Mattachine dream coming true again. These were the same people moving forward. There was that same beautiful gleam in their eyes. There was that certain feeling of brotherhood all of a sudden right there at the beginning. And we all worked together almost like a huge family who had suddenly found each other. And this went on for about 4 or 5 years, up to about 1974, 75. And then all of a sudden professionalism took over. And with that, the second wave of assimilation comes. In the Radical Fairies, we take the position that we are a self-loving, self-affirming people. And those who are self-loving and self-affirming gays, who've always loved being different and always loved that secret shining glory that we held in our hearts, are invited to come. But we don't proselytize and we don't advertise. We send out the call. I see that in the United States we will move from being a melting pot to being a plural society. And in the plural society, there are a great many people, a great many minorities who want their own sacred, inviolable political social space into which they can come back for refreshment and renewal. And in that, they will find their own particular contribution out of their own culture and their own ways of feeling, and then commit themselves to go out into the world and then make this contribution to the society as a whole. And we want that same space. And my point is that all of our struggles in politics are to find for ourselves that space. Because as far as we're concerned, as far as I'm concerned, we are not safe from judges and from Congresses who can change their minds, and from statutes, for example, which are passed by executive order or by legislators and then put to the vote of the people and voted away. We have no safety there unless we are part of the Constitution. When all the member minorities of the plural society have under the Constitution the rights to this space, which is there to be not to be probed into by police and all the rest, but to be absolutely safe and secure. And into that we can make our own contributions, and out of it we can come with our commitments to society. This is when I think we are safe, and this is how I think we should operate.
It was just wonderful to discover a living person who has over and over again refused to get bought out, and who's kept that idealism. And that's the trouble with Harry.
Gay Fairfax is now run 3 nights a week, but that still leaves you 4 nights to get involved with the Fairfax Lesbian and Gay Citizens Association. FLGCA holds many social events and sponsors many educational projects designed to get gay people together.
For a free copy of the FLGCA newsletter, write to Post Office Box 2322, Springfield, Virginia 22152, or call us at area code 703-451-9528.
The Flirtations, a gay singing group from New York City, recently appeared in concert benefiting the Sexual Minority Youth Assistance League, or SMILE. Dave Hughes caught the group in performance and also got a few moments of in-person flirtation.
Exposure to the Flirtations has been known to promote homosexuality. And now, direct from New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, the fabulous Flirtations.
Mama said on the day I was born there was a whole shaking going on. There was a party next door and people coming out for more, and they played that boogie all night long. I was raised on a beat that was so sweet, so sad on the rhythm of blues. And when she sent me on my way, I heard my mama say, boy, don't forget your dancing shoes. Don't forget to pop till you drop, or shake it till you break it, baby, move it till you lose it. Dance, dance, pop till you drop, or shake it till you break it, baby, move it till you lose it. Dance, 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 dance. When you're down at a party and the music's hot and you see somebody that you like a lot, you don't fight the feeling of the feeling's right. You take a chance and dance, 'cause tonight's the night, tonight, tonight, tonight. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Better shake it, baby. Well, you can rock it, you can roll it, you can touch it, you can swirl it in the hop, hop, hop. When the record starts spinning, you can look so like a chicken in the hop, hop, hop.
About 3 years ago, shortly after the March on Washington, a friend and I decided that it would be a good idea to have a group like this. So we put up notices in New York City, and a bunch of people came out and auditioned for us, and we chose actually 6 at that time people. And we thought that we would just perform on street corners and at political rallies and that kind of thing, but one thing led to another, and people started saying, you know, where are you performing next? And then they started saying, when's the first album coming out? And, you know, that's basically what happened.
Why do fools fall in love? Let the world see it's okay. And lovers wake the break of day. Why do they fall in love? Why does the rain fall? Why do fools fall in love? Why do they fall in love? Why does my heart freeze and beat? For I know it was meant to tell them why why do these fools fall in love? Love is a losing game. What can be a shame? I know I'm a fool to say. Why do fools fall in love? Why do bad seems okay? And lovers wake the break of day. Why do they fall in love?
I'm John Arterton, and I live in New York City, and I'm kind of the, what am I? I guess I'm like
The dictator.
the manager or something of this group. I do a lot of the booking and that kind of thing, so that keeps me busy.
Yeah, my name is Aurelio Font. Also, I guess what you would call a founding member of this group, the original 6. And I always try to ensure that we have mention of the Latino faction as well represented in our repertoire as well as in the music that we do. That's right.
My name is Mike Callan, and I'm an original flirt. I've been very, very involved in PWA activism and AIDS activism in general. And I am, in December, retiring from AIDS activism and going to choose another topic, perhaps women's health care or literacy or the homeless issue. I am sick and tired of AIDS, and it's time to move on.
I'm Cliff Townsend. I joined the group after one of the former members, Ellie Pilshaw, left. Besides this, I mean, I'm actually a professional singer, meaning that I do this, and not full time, but whenever the job arises. I'm at New York City Opera Chorus, and that's about all. I mean, I keep pretty busy with my music.
My name is Jimmy Rutland, and I am the novice, 3 months, and it's wonderful. I'm working with a group called Hearts and Voices, which I think is very exciting. It's a group of singers. We go to hospitals in the New York area and sing for people who can't get out.
This counts for choreography. You broke my heart in two, but I got over it. And now you come back with that sad ass face of yours looking for the sweet stuff that I'm going to give to someone else. Gotta do without you, be burdened. You're gonna get along without you now. Gonna find somebody twice as cute that she didn't at the anyhow. You ran around with everybody to
should be more. I bet you're gonna get along without you now. Gonna find somebody twice as cute, 'cause you didn't love me anyhow.
The reception that we've been getting has been really incredible, and DC has been just simply wonderful with us on a lot of levels. So, I mean, can we take this opportunity to thank all of DC, the Gay Men's Chorus of DC,
Actually, Aurelio is dating most of the men in DC.
Oh, he says that. He's hot. Don't believe him. It's a lie.
Not all of the men in DC, just the tenor section of the Gay Men's Chorus.
God.
Have there been any of those moments that at the moment seemed like a real tragedy, but then now you can look back at it and either laugh or notice this has been a growing experience or any of those things?
Well, when we invited Cliff into the group.
No, those are moments, but I don't think we ever get over them, no. We look back on them and we still cringe.
Well, I think it's when we should mention that there was a sixth member that was singing with us, T.J. Myers, who died in August of AIDS. And you want to talk about something really difficult to transcend, and I don't know if anyone really transcends it, but perhaps, just speaking for myself, finding a comfortable place to put that loss and to be able to go on and perform and still at the same time realize that he's still a part of us in many respects when we sing.
What do you view as your contribution to the gay community other than excellent music? Or what do you have any purposes or goals besides making wonderful music?
Making people queerer.
I'll be good to him. I'll make brunch for him. Everyone says there'll come a day when I'll walk alongside of him. For years just to know him is to love, 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 love him. And I do, and I do, and I do. And I do. Why can't he see? How blind can he be? Someday he will see that he should be in me. If you ever need me, just call my name and I'll be there. On that you can depend and never worry. And if you should find yourself short of your desires, just remember that life holds for you one guarantee, that you always have me. No wind, no rain, no winter's come. Just to see them smile, they smile, and come on, to love him is to love, love, love him, and I do, 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 and I do.
Well, how did you do with this week's trivia question? Here's Peg with the answer.
The four famous patriots were actor Rock Hudson, Navy; writer John Cheever, Army; actor Tyrone Power, Marines; and gay rights activist Leonard Matlovich, Air Force.
That wraps up this week's edition of Gay Fairfax. Don't forget, you can now tune in Gay Fairfax every week at this time. Next week, we'll share some highlights of the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival now traveling the country.
Plus, you'll enjoy the tuneful antics of the popular gay singing group, the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington.
We'll close today's show with a reprise of the Flirtations. For Gay Fairfax, I'm Dave Hughes.
And I'm Michelle Michaels. Thank you for joining us, and remember to keep the pride alive.
Just remember that life holds for you one guarantee, that you'll always have me. No wind, no rain, no winter's come. Just to see them smile, they smile, and come on, make my day. No. Yeah.